What's going on, family? Let's discuss why I chose emotionally unavailable partners as a dismissive avoidant attacher. Family, welcome and welcome back to my channel. I'm Eleanor and this is Dismissible Me, where I speak only about dismissive avoidant attachment from the perspective of someone with a dismissive avoidant attachment style. Please like, share, and subscribe. Let me know where you are watching from. Be sure to check out the playlist. Find me on Instagram. All of my links, including to my website, are down below in the description box. And getting right into today's highly triggering video, reasons why I chose emotionally unavailable partners as someone with a dismissive avoidant attachment style. And the number one reason I would choose other emotionally unavailable people is I understood, very early on. I know on a first date how emotionally available you are. And I know, okay, whether or not, typically 9 times out of 10, whether or not you're going to, what I like to call emotionally exhaust me. This other emotionally unavailable person is not going to pressure me for more. They're not going to pressure me for more vulnerability. They're not going to pressure me for more time. They're not going to pressure me for more information or for higher levels of commitment. This person is going to allow me to float right here, to just be on cruise control, and I don't have to, and I'm on cruise control going down a highway that I frequently traveled, and it's not like a self-driving car, but I've driven it so many times that I don't have to worry about anything. It's just like driving down a familiar road and just enjoying the scenery. Depending on where you live, maybe you have the 4 seasons and you have the beautiful leaves one season, then you have the frozen, rivers, and it's beautiful in the wintertime. You know what I'm saying? You get where I'm going with this. It looks good. It feels comfortable. It's surface level, right? They're not going to pressure me for anything. So I know that. So I know I know everything that I don't have to bring to the table. That I know that if I want to stay comfortable, if I don't want to be pushed outside of what's comfortable for me, that this type of person who's also emotionally unavailable is safe for me. This idea that all of the people that dismissive avoidant partners are, they're all good people, or they're all this, or they're all... It's a lot easier to deal with somebody who's got similar issues to yourself than to try and work things out and idolizing, this idea of idolizing the traits that somebody else doesn't have. That somebody else does have that you don't have. Sometimes you just focus on the traits that you do share with somebody, and that's what you bond over. The toxicity, right? So I know with this other emotionally unavailable person, they're not about to pressure me for more. They're not about to emotionally exhaust me. And this, to me, is safe. Okay? Another reason to choose someone who's emotionally unavailable is they understand my need for space. Somebody like me who is needing a high degree of personal space and alone time, and doesn't necessarily like to do a whole bunch of talking on the phone or texting, I recognize that very early on. So that for me, it's unspoken. It's already understood that I need space, you need space, and I'm going to respect your space. I'm not going to question you about taking space, and I also would appreciate it if you didn't question me when I decide to take my space also. It's like this mutual respecting each other's space. And not only that, that space is built into this dysfunctional relationship from the start of it. It's already known. It's upfront, whether it's said or not. You can just feel it because you're vibrating on the same frequency. Another reason, okay, and I've already said this, is it feels safer. It's comfortable. It's familiar, right? I don't have to do much. If me and you have similar avoidant traits, you need a lot of personal time. I need a lot of personal time. You don't like to be close and touching. Well, how about that? I don't like that either. Damn, how about that? What? You don't like to drop the L word either? Wow. Soulmate, twin, where have you been? It's comfortable. It's safe. I don't have to do much. It feels natural. It goes back to my video about, I don't know what the damn title is. Check the playlist. It's something about unspoken wants or needs. It's kind of like when I say in that I want somebody to just know and understand me. That's what I mean. But there's also, and that's the dysfunction of it all, and that's what this whole channel is about. But like, only somebody who's equally as dysfunctional or has the same type of dysfunctional traits and behaviors, do they automatically know it? Do they automatically understand it? When I've met other people like me and I've just known and understood it and they didn't have to explain it, sometimes it blew certain people away because it was like, oh, I don't have to. No, you really don't. I knew you were like that, and that's why I'm still here. Because you're giving me space, I'm giving you space. When you dip, I dip, we dip. You know what I'm saying? It's great. Another reason to choose an emotionally unavailable partner as someone with a dismissive avoidant attachment style is there's no emotional responsibility with this person that's emotionally unavailable, or there's low emotional responsibility. Again, this person is not going to emotionally exhaust me. They're not going to try to play emotionally manipulative games to see how I'm going to react. Or if this is the type of person that does that, I'm already aware of that. And so I already know how to maneuver through that, which is I'm not going to respond. I'm going to act like I didn't hear you. Because 9 times out of 10, people that like to play these little manipulative games, it's an insecurity thing. And a lot of times, unless they're really, really twisted and really about that mean life, they're not going to double down on that ridiculousness. Sometimes you just got to stand still. But there's little to no emotional responsibility. I'm anticipating that this person is not going to put me in situations where I'm going to have to be falling out with them, where there's going to be a lot of drama. Because the minute I sense that there's going to be drama here, or the minute I sense that you want me to be jealous or you want me to compete for you, I'm just going to exit stage left. Because even if I'm looking for dysfunctional, that's not the type of dysfunctional that I'm looking for. I like low-key, keep it cute and quiet dysfunction. I don't want Jerry Springer. You know what I mean? I don't want that. That's not what I'm looking for. So the low emotional responsibility is perfect. Perfect for me. Chef's kiss. Mwah. Another reason is and again, this goes with the feeling safe, the low emotional responsibility. This person is not going to try to control me. And when I choose to date somebody who's also emotionally unavailable, I like to look for another person who, how do I want to say it? I like to look for another person who, through their language, whether it's direct or indirect, lets me know that they understand that love or emotional control is having control over another person. So, because that's the way that I think, I'm looking for you to think in the same way so that you understand that, okay, if I try to control you, you're going to leave. And if you try to control me, I'm going to leave. That type of behavior that anything trying to manipulate or elicit certain emotions that are not natural, that don't come from just keeping things light and taking things extremely slow, can be considered hazardous or dangerous. And I know that sounds absolutely ridiculous, but that's truly is what it is. I look for another person who understands, as dysfunctional as it is, that understands that love is control if you're not careful, if the other person is not careful. So in looking for that, I am also assuming that this person is not going to try to control me and not, again, emotionally exhaust me. Another reason to choose someone who is emotionally unavailable is there's a mutual and typically that unspoken understanding of each other's emotional distance. So again, this person's not going to emotionally exhaust me. They're not going to ask me to be more vulnerable. They're not going to ask me to explain my feelings. I'm not going to ask them to explain their feelings. Either you're showing up the way that I need you to naturally, or I'm going to just exit stage left. Because for me personally, I shouldn't have to ask you for the bare minimum. I shouldn't have to ask you for certain things. Either this is what you want to give to me naturally, and it works for me, or it doesn't. So again, that mutual and silent understanding of needing that emotional distance. You don't ask me more, I don't ask you. And unless we get there some type of natural way, even though we're both avoiding it, we're not going to bring up emotional stuff, okay? Yes, I do know how ridiculous this sounds. Especially now that I'm saying it out loud. It sounds absolutely insane. Another reason to choose somebody who's emotionally unavailable is because you always have, one size 11.5 in and one size 11.5 out. There's always, you're not shattered. I'm not shattered when the relationship ends because I'm not fully emotionally investing in this situation. Even though I like this person, even though I really enjoy spending my time with them, even though I may like them more than on a surface level, if it doesn't work out, because I knew what it was when I decided to take this leap. If I was in a space where I wanted to date and I chose somebody who was emotionally unavailable, I was wanting to date and be in a relationship, but I wasn't necessarily wanting to grow. So while I'm wanting to give to another person and be there for another person to a certain extent, I'm not wanting this person to push me outside of my comfort zone. So here I am trying to date somebody just like me. And so with that being the case, it's not devastating. It's a bummer. It can be sad. It doesn't mean that I'm not sad, or it doesn't mean that it has no effect on me. But it's not like I'm not crying over another person who was emotionally unavailable. And when I've been involved with other emotionally unavailable people, I think that shocked them because they didn't typically date other emotionally unavailable women. I'll say that. So I'm not shattered, and I anticipate that they're not going to be shattered either. At least that's what I anticipate. Another reason I choose them is I'm not going to feel suffocated. I'm not going to feel suffocated while I'm in the situation with them. I'm not going to feel suffocated after because they're not going to ask me anything. These are the type of people that if they had ever made it onto my social media, when it ended, I don't feel the need to block this person. So when we talk about having not been blocked, but somebody not responding, you emotionally unavailable person, I don't feel the need to block you. Why? Why don't I feel the need to block the emotionally unavailable person? Because this person's not about to act a fool. If I chose you because you were emotionally unavailable, I knew you were not about to act a fool. With the exception of one person, I knew you were not about to act a fool. Only one, not that, and I don't date that often, but only one did I misread. And he was a slopopotamus, very freaking messy. But that's okay. We navigated through it. But I won't feel suffocated by this person. Another reason, and this should have been at the top, but these aren't in any particular order. I do not have to explain myself to another emotionally unavailable person. Again, it is the recognizing the similar traits. As my father used to say, what's understood don't need no understanding. Okay? What's understood doesn't need to be explained. Okay? I don't have to explain my dysfunction to you because we read it in each other. We're vibrating on the same frequency. We're using similar language. There's similar language we're not using. We're moving in a similar way. Okay? Right? We're talking about previous relationships in a certain way, or we're avoiding it. Oh, I know what I'm looking at here. I absolutely do. The emotional unavailability also gives me a reason not to commit. I know you're emotionally unavailable. I am too. But everything is going well. I enjoy you. You enjoy me. We've been spending time together. But that doesn't mean that I have to commit to something. And that also means that you don't have to commit. And everything's surface level, and it's safe, and it's comfortable, and it feels familiar, right? And nobody's rocking the boat. And then last on this list, but I feel like this has kind of been a long list to get to this particular point, is I don't have to be vulnerable with this emotionally unavailable person. And they don't have to be vulnerable with me. There's none of that pressure that comes with this emotionally unavailable person. And that's not to say that it always stays surface level, because I was in a relationship with somebody who was pretty emotionally unavailable. And honestly, it was the grace that I was given the person in the situation and the grace that they gave me. So it wasn't just one-sided, but it was equal. And it was that mutual understanding that really kept it going as long as it did. And I feel like that's also the reason that this person is still trying to reach out. And they'll just be reaching out, I guess, because I won't be picking up. But to summarize everything that I just spoke about, family, why a dismissive avoidant chooses emotionally unavailable partners. They will not pressure me for more. They understand my need for space. It feels safer. It is comfortable. It is familiar. There is little to no emotional responsibility. They won't try to control me emotionally, which is an assumption. There's a mutual and typically unspoken understanding of each other's emotional distance. If it ends, I'm not shattered and neither are they. It almost seems like a situation where nobody gets hurt or there's minimal damage, no casualties, right? I'm not going to feel suffocated and neither are they. I don't have to explain myself. And it gives me a reason not to commit. It gives the other person a reason not to commit. It gives each of us an opportunity to have one foot out the door. And I don't have to be vulnerable and neither do they. Family, thank you for traveling down this rabbit hole of dysfunction with me. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you for your time. Please like, share, and subscribe. Let me know what resonated for you. Check out the playlist. Find me on Instagram. All my links are down below in the description box. And family, I will be tapping in with you next week. Keep it real.